As we are to do, we do like to read the headers if we are reading a document directly from Star Citizen or CIG, and that is to convey the purpose of the document in its entirety. So, as we are to do, the Roadmap Roundup header reads, Happy Wednesday, everyone. Every 2 weeks, we accompany the Roadmap update with a brief explanatory note to give you insight into the decision-making that led to any changes. This is a part of an effort to make our communications more transparent, more specific, and more insightful for all of you who helped make Star Citizen and Squadron 42 possible. With that said, let's go ahead and dive into this week's Roadmap Roundup, the CIG community team.
Ooh, you know what I should have done?
Oh, so many things. What?
Well, because sometimes I don't think because they post this as a comm link or a Spectrum post as well.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's comments in there, and I can't remember if there were this time or not. Do you remember?
Well, it's linked to the bottom.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. Let's open that just in case.
Got you. I got you.
Yeah. Let's see. Just make sure there aren't any dev comments. Always look for the yellow. Black and yellow. Yeah. Black and yellow. Okay. Nothing. Cool. Just make sure. All right, so I'll get started with this part. So this week, notable changes for October 4th, 2023. This week, we're introducing the 321 column to the roadmap, which will house features content that were previously listed for 320.x. And this is something that a lot of people have gotten confused. They see things and they're like, oh, great, got delayed again, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no. Didn't get delayed. Nothing changed. All they did was change the number of the patch. And they changed the number of the patch because of the separation of the replication layer during the 321 patch cycle. We've made the decision to...
Sorry, I forget where they said it was just basically a nomenclature change because of the tech they're about to introduce.
Yeah, I think it's actually in this program, or in this paragraph. We've made the decision to increment the Alpha 320.x patch nomenclature to Alpha 321. The primary reason for this increment is to signify Star Citizen approaching the next major milestone in its online networking technology, which warrants a proper step up. During the 321 patch cycle, what does that link go to? This goes to the Benoit post. Let's make sure.
Bolt CIG?
Yep. Okay, we're going to cover that in a second. During the 321 patch cycle, we will introduce a new testing channel aimed at graduating new underlying technology. This new channel allows the dev teams to get players on a version of the game that matches the current live release. So they're going to be testing the separation of the replication layer on the same 321 patch that you're already playing. So it shouldn't be any different other than the fact that the replication layer is separated and whatever issues that might bring in. But gameplay-wise, locations, features, same stuff. That matches the current live release in both content and features, but that introduces large tech changes. I said larg. That must be validated, graduated, and ultimately mission-proven before making their way to a live release. In short, this is the next step towards server meshing after deploying persistent entity streaming earlier this year. With the replication layer moving off of the game servers, this allows the game server to be an authority over a specific area rather than the entire game universe. So it allows it, but that's not what's happening in 321. It just allows for that. That's why it's the next major step before server meshing. The server mesher being an authority over a specific area is what server meshing is. While the player experience won't change much at first, the game server will stick with managing Stanton to start with. This is the major step forward to Alpha 4.0 and beyond. For more information on the replication layer, persistent entity streaming, server meshing, and how this will affect the future of Star Citizen, please check out our panel from CitizenCon 2021. CitizenCon 2951, server meshing and the state of persistence. And if you don't want to watch that whole panel, because it's a really good information, but the guy has an accent, so it can be hard to follow, Space Tomato just put out a really great video summarizing all of it. And I've got a whole playlist of Ray's Guide summary of breaking down all the technology and how it works. And Ray's Guide is Ray's Guide is very technically savvy and does a really good job of making these things understandable. Like, is that your dog in the background on the couch with the the leg.
Oh, she got
Yep.
him on the couch.
Yeah, I saw the leg twitching.
Yeah,
yeah.
we need to figure out what's wrong with her.
But yeah, we're going to be talking more about this post here in the next segment, and breaking down a little bit more about what that means from when we talked about briefly on Captain's Table.
All right, you want me to just run through 320, 21?
Yeah, sure.
All right. With this publish, we are clarifying where each of the features previously slated for 320.x would land in the patch cycle. Below is the full list with a pair of new cards marked as such. All 3.20.0 cards have been marked as committed. Blah, 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 blah. Wow. Okay. Through Alpha 3.21.0. New Crusader platforms. Adding 3 new points of interest on Crusader's atmosphere, providing new locations for missions and loot.
So these, along with the retrieve consignment missions, were delayed a little bit because of placing these platforms with Rastar was jacking up the mission. And that's why these were delayed. And so these new Crusader platforms were built with Rastar, but in doing so, it messed up the mission. And so they were going through and fixing that issue. But now they are in and working in the PTU. I haven't been able to get them yet. I've been trying to get them myself, but I'm excited for these.
So for some reason, Opera GX has a rephrase like Yoda button.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did new mission, retrieve consignment, and it translated to new missions, retrieve consignment, you must. Well, I'm going to be using that button often.
Retrieve consignment. This is like my gameplay for my 0 to hero and my cutter. It's the logo is here. Well, I'll find it really quick.
I'll read through.
It's the loot goblin, and that's my 0 to hero gameplay, is doing retrieval missions, and these are the updated retrieval missions. These are new retrieval missions, whereas the other ones often have a lot of bugs. So,
do they?
Yeah, I've had lots of issues.
I very rarely have any bugs that aren't the 100% of everyone gets the bugs. I am, for some reason, pretty bug free on most games. Anyway. New mission, retrieve consignment. A new mission type where players are tasked with locating critical items in consignment lists, then safely extracting them. What that actually ends up being is go to a point and kill all the people there and find a data pad to open a thing that spits out these items. New mission, steal evidence. New! A criminal mission type where players are tasked with infiltrating security post Korea and stealing files from Crusader security for a hefty payout. Files. What files? Is this another stupid data hacking Tiger Claw clip thing? What do you? Is it a tablet? I don't know. I don't know anything about this one. Anyway, we're not gonna try and get angry. We're gonna try and not get angry. Crusader A1 Spirit. Building, balancing, and implementing Crusader Industries Light Bomber the A1 Spirit into the game. I'm actually slowly low simmering my hype for the A1s or the A series or the 1 series. There we go. I think I might do a lot of touring around with the C1. Maybe.
I think the C1's going to be a great ship. It's going to have a tractor beam. I forget I don't know if they ever denoted what size, but we're gonna find out a lot about the tractor beam size changes here pretty soon when that releases. But I think the C1's going to be a fun ship. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Does it have any crew areas? I forget.
I'll have to go back and look inside and see how much interior space it actually has, because I want to say it was a bit bigger than a freelancer inside, but I can't remember. In terms of crew space, the livable space, Oh, Drac for EA says that it's a box that says confidential. So you get a box that has the okay. That reminds me of Zoolander. The files are in the computer. Because it's
no.
we're stealing files from Crusader Security for a hefty payout. The files are in the box.
So it's built around the single hallway.
Yeah.
And after you get past the bulkhead, it's in the walls. The bed and stuff are in the walls. So it's all built on the two sides. Very nice.
And it's the latest Crusader ship. I think it should look really good. And Michael R.
Will
says
it have functional door
12
panels?
meters longer. Yeah. Well, at least there isn't an extra elevator. Yeah.
Speaking of door panels working, the Hull C actually has specific doors you can lock. So if everyone remembers the Hercules when it came out, all doors were lockable and lockable open. I don't know if you can lock the doors open on the Hull C, but you can lock them shut. It's a couple very specific doors. You can lock the one right behind the bridge, and you can lock the one to the spindle hallway.
Okay. Yeah,
it's very cool. They very specifically added those.
I don't own the Spirit, and Crusader really isn't my vibe. But out of all the Crusaders, out of all the Crusader ships, I like the look of the Spirit the most because it's sleeker looking and more elongated versus rounded. Whereas the Herc and the MSR are much more not rounded, but they're
disc-like, yeah.
Yeah, disc-like, squared off, and I feel like I think the reason that the Spirit speaks to me more is because the shape language.
Tractor beam.
Yeah. It has a track. I mean, the C1 has a tractor beam, so it's automatically the best.
No. It's the size 3 tractor beam. There is no C3. C3 is above the C2.
Sorry. Yeah, C1.
Yeah. C1 has a size 3 tractor beam.
Yeah. Aether Drift says less bulbous looking. Yeah, totally agree. And
MSR is a bloated frisbee. I know, but it's good though.
I think Space Tomato is the one that I saw say it first. He's like, the Spirit gives off Normandy vibes, and I'm a huge.
Yes, that's what that shape is.
Yeah, I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. I love the Normandy. I had a Normandy model, SR2 model, commissioned and 3D printed, that I'm going to end up putting on my shelves behind me.
Entrance. Nothing's allowed to be an apology for the MSR unless it has 2 doors on it, which I don't think the Spirit does. Mm-hmm. I think there's still only the rear entrance.
Yeah. No, it's the Spirits should be great ships. The bombing via the Spirit doesn't really interest me. I'm more interested in bombing, a la like bombs on wingtips on wing mounts versus like a bomb bay, where they're coming out like that. Yeah, the C1 definitely feels like it has its closer sleekness wise to the OG MSR. I agree. Yeah, only smaller because of less space, but yeah.
I wonder what are they going to have, like an RSI cutlass?
I could see it. Yeah, who knows?
Because I want a new RSI ship.
Northern Trooper, for the love of God, I want to see the Spirits in the sneak peeks. Yeah. Like, how many times we've seen the Santok Yai, like, 3-4 times already? And the Storm has been 3 times, and the same period, two of the 3 Spirit variants have gone to final art, and we've got nothing. It's like, yeah. So, yeah. So Alpha 321, and this is just what they've added so far. And I'll pull up that comment once we get to Benoit's post. I think it's in there. But there should be more getting added to Alpha 321 and 321.x. Maybe not to 321 just because it's supposed to release here in a couple of weeks. This is definitely the CitizenCon patch. The only thing that will be in there that isn't listed right now is if there's anything unannounced. Like potentially a straight to flyable a new straight to playable for CitizenCon, which there usually is one. But gameplay wise, I don't think that there's going to be anything else added. So, but I definitely could see more stuff and more ships for sure getting added to 321.x. So let's take a look at that. So Alpha 321.x. Replication layer update. New. Over the course of the 321 patch cycle, the replication layer will be moved off of the game servers and set up as its own standalone service. That's the important part, is that right now, the up to the moment entity state of what's going on in the server as it's stored on the replication layer and transmitted to everyone else dies with the server when the server crashes. And that's why this enables not only server meshing, but also enables the crash recovery to come later. In the short term, this allows for greater server recovery in the event of a crash. This is also the critical next step towards server meshing. I'd like to learn more about we'll take a look at the comment about crash recovery in Benoit's post here in a few minutes. Our current goal is to release Alpha 321 ahead of launching the preview channel within the replication layer update. And this is the thing that people were confused about. They're like, okay, sweet. They'll launch 321 and then we'll have the replication layer right after that. And it's like, no, they're not going to start doing the preview channel, the testing channel, until 321 is launched. And 321 is definitely the CitizenCon patch. So, sometime after October 20th, 21st, probably within the next few days or a week or so, is when they will launch that testing channel with the replication layer update. And then my best guess is probably a few weeks to prove that out, because it's just us testing that patch. And then if we find something, they go into QA, they make a fix and they test it with QA and then put it out to us in the next, letter version of that 321.x, probably 321.1. But they're not testing new features in the preview channel. They're not testing new locations or anything. It's the exact same patch with only one difference. And so the testing for this patch and the iteration on it should go faster. Caveat, should go faster, should go smoother. That's why when people are like, oh, this is going to take 3 months, no, there's no way in hell. Because they're not testing an entirely new patch. They're not testing anything different except for this migration of this one service off the server. So obviously manage your own expectations, but I'm expecting a few weeks. I'm expecting that they'll want this to go live in order to be able to launch 321.x with these things for IAE, which starts several weeks after CitizenCon. I think it's like the second week of November. So it'd be like 3 weeks after CitizenCon. I'd have to look.
Okay, so lay out your timeline again. I got lost somewhere.
321, CitizenCon.
Yes.
October 21st, whatever. Yeah,
sure.
20. Yeah, and then 3 weeks later. So let's see. Here's CitizenCon right here this weekend, 321 or 1021, 1022, and then I believe. Let's see. It should be like it's usually like the third Thursday is when IAE starts. Something like that.
Okay.
And so IAE should start sometime like 16th, 17th, 18th, because it goes for 2 weeks or 10 days? I forget. Something like that. It'll essentially go from like the 16th to December 2nd, give or take. Well, if it starts on the 16th, that gives 1, 2, 3, almost 4 full weeks. It gives about 4 full weeks from when 321 goes live for them to do this testing, the preview channel testing of 321 with the replication layer. And
okay, so I thought you had said that 321X, 321.1 is when they start the TC.
No.
Like I said, I got lost. I'm like, I don't think that's what that said. Like it's supposed to launch with the parity of 320.
Mhm.
321.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're on the same page. Too cool.
Yep. And then when they introduce 321.x with these features, the replication layer will have already been proven out and working. And then the issues with it should really only be anything associated with that patch, the .x patch, the features, locations, what have you, emissions. But they'll be testing the replication layer separation on the 321 patch. So that way, regardless of what you're playing, it's the same patch, just back-end differences. So, and then for clarification, so if, let's say 321.x launches, the November 16th, with the replication layer separation having been tested for 4 weeks. Well, and then they start the testing in the preview channel for crash recovery. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least, depending on how soon they started after, they've got about a whole month, because Friday the 22nd is when CIG should be going on their holiday break. So essentially, they'll have 4 full weeks of testing the crash recovery, if they're going about it the same way, in the same manner, to just test one service.
So do you think we're going to be getting a 22?
Yep. I think we're going to be getting a 22. It's going to have a handful of things in it just like this, but they're going to be testing the crash recovery on 321.x before 322 launches. And so that way,
so you're saying with 21.0, we get the testing channel for the replication split.
Yep.
And then they merge that back when we get 21.1, and they test the crash recovery. And then 22 at the end of the year patch, and they merge in the crash recovery.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And so live for 322 before the holiday break, and we have replication layer separation and crash recovery having both gone through their paces. And I think that's the goal, is to have that. That's what we have for live over the holiday break. So it'll be all of this, plus more things added into 321.x, plus things added for 322, whatever that ends up being. Now, the question is, what's going to be in 322? Is it just going to be, little bits, or do we think that there could be a feature of significance in 322? That's the hard thing. I don't know.
The biggest question
Lamad
is
972.
The biggest question is what needs to wait.
Yeah.
Like, we could sit here and read the roadmap all day. The question is, does anything need to wait because of server caps? Not like player caps, but like server performance caps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, can we get underground facility? Can we get a building interior? Well, building interior is not done yet. Like, what are we getting?
Mm-hmm.
And as we'll talk about later, the roadmap has been rather thin on details as of late.
Yeah. We're
no, are they gonna come out with a new roadmap at CitizenCon?
Oh god.
Because we've seen this before. We've seen this before where they just don't say anything and let the data run out, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, dropping new thing." Now that we're out of data on the last thing,
there are some. I mean, and for those of you who haven't watched before, roadmap cadence, we're at the beginning of a new quarter. So, in October, and probably towards the end, because Jake is busy as shit with CitizenCon, because the community team, they're the ones who organize it. But yeah, at the beginning of the quarter is when you get the updates for the upstream and downstream teams, when they add those to the progress tracker. So we should be getting the Q4 schedule for the downstream teams, but we haven't gotten anything for the upstream teams past Q4, and a good number of upstream teams, which we're going to look at here in a minute, don't have their schedule for Q4, when those upstream teams should have had their full schedule for Q4 in Q2, at the beginning of Q2. So, yeah. And
We should
so
call.
we are behind.
We should just call Shiny. Hey, you want to rant about how the roadmap's not telling you anything for a minute?
Yeah, because we had a Naz and I have an ongoing conversation with Shiny Hobo of Shinytracker, and we're like, what's going on? Because we have not had.
And he's about ready. He's about ready to throw in the towel on the stupid tracker. Like,
Yeah,
that's how bad the data is.
yeah, we'll show you here in a second. But yeah, so vehicle tractor beams, which is the gameplay feature that I'm most excited for and have been most excited for a long time. Yeah, I think the X1 Haldor Gret Haldor. I think we're going to see the X1 as the 322 straight to flyable, or not straight to flyable, but new flyable ship in
Release,
322.
yeah.
I think they can get it done in that amount of time. Plus, there could potentially be an unannounced. I don't know. I haven't.
Yeah, they are way too good at origin ships for the X1 to take like more than a couple of quarters.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm super excited about vehicle tractor beams. I've covered them multiple times. I'm hoping that when ISC comes back online, we'll get a big update as part of IAE on vehicle tractor beam gameplay and the ships that are getting them and all that sort of stuff, just to clarify some things. But implementing tractor beams attached to ships, either remote operated, like on the Hull C, or a turret-like attachment, which is the Taurus. And I believe, I don't know if, I thought the Reclaimer was supposed to have tractor beam turrets, but I can't remember. I haven't been in it for forever. But definitely in the Taurus. So this makes me think the Taurus is getting them, but they wasn't mentioned in the monthly report when they talked about it. This allows players to move and tow bigger objects, including other ships. Tumbrel's Storm. Building, implementing, and balancing Tumbrel's light tank, the Storm, is a game-ready vehicle. Crusader C1 Spirit, building, balancing, and implementing Crusader Industries' small multi-crew cargo ship, the C1 Spirit, into game. Argo SRV, yes. I can't wait to have the Argo SRV. I love the raft. I absolutely adore the raft, especially the interior. And I like the mole too, even though it's, it could use a little bit of improvement, but I think the mole's a great ship. I love everything Argo. But I hope the interior for the SRV gets as much love as the raft did. Building, implementing, and balancing Argo's tugboat, the SRV, as a game-ready vehicle. Yeah, so the reason I love the SRV is because it's the Star Citizen version of the tugboat, and as a young, small child, I didn't want to be a firefighter growing up. I didn't want to be an astronaut or a fighter pilot. I wanted to be a tugboat driver. So I get to live out my dreams of being a tugboat driver in space. Yeah, the X1 looks slick. I don't know how I feel about the upright seat after that sprint report.
So it's supposed to move. It's supposed to transform as you hit like flyable. It's supposed to move you down into a leaning forward position.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's
why everyone decided to forget that when like, oh, it's a wheelchair. It's like, no, guys, this is not the hovercraft for the elderly and infirm.
I have to sit upright so I can sip my tea or have my glass of wine.
Yeah, no, it's still a bike.
Professor X's X1.
yeah, that people were going all sorts of. Oh, it's a not hover round, a moped, but like a scooter. It's like, guys, come on, guys. Before you start hating on it, go look what you're looking at.
Yep. So let's talk about the issue with the progress tracker and the upstream teams. So if you go to the Roadmap Companion, which is linked at the bottom of every Roadmap Roundup, right here.
What is it?
Yep, every time. It gives you to this big this big document that explains a whole lot about how the roadmap and the progress tracker work. And 99.99 repeating percentage of backers have never read this. Nazeris and I have read it a dozen times. And this it's top of
bookmarked, and it's permanently open on my window. I keep all the roadmap stuff open on.
Yeah. And this on top of our, at least weekly conversations with Shiny Hobo and Jake Acapella, Jake Bradley, the keeper of the roadmap and the progress tracker, is what gives us our understanding of how it all works. But if you scroll down, you see that there's a list of what teams are upstream and what teams are downstream. And I don't know if this has been updated, but it should be. Let's see. Yeah, it needs to have some updates, but because there's been a couple team name changes and stuff. But these are the upstream teams. And so the upstream teams are the ones where we are supposed to be able to have a year of their schedule on the progress tracker. So with a current quarter and like 3 quarters in advance. So essentially, if we should be able to see through their schedule through the end of Q1 right now, because we haven't gotten the update to the schedule in October. Does that make sense? Yeah, these are the teams that we should be able to see far out. And these are all the downstream teams, the ones whose schedules we only get for each quarter. So at the beginning of a new quarter, so January and April, January and then April and then June, right? Yeah, beginning of January's month, April. Oh, and January, April, July, and October. Those are the months when the progress tracker gets their big updates, and at the beginning of those quarters is when these teams get their schedules for that quarter. And that's also when these teams get their schedule for the furthest quarter out. So you can see 3 quarters ahead for these teams and 1 quarter for these teams. And so, Naz, do you have this up on your computer? You want to read off these teams to me, and we'll go through the teams view and see where their schedules are?
Sure. Right, try to figure out which on earth. Oh, it's the one that Lily says what it is. All right. Actor feature team.
Here's the actor feature team.
Starting with
an upstream team. And we do not have their Q4 schedule.
We got 9.
We should have gotten their Q4 schedule at the beginning of Q2. And
you can
got their schedule out to here, but that's it.
Yeah, you can also use control mouse wheel to get more map in there.
Do what?
In case you want. You can control mouse wheel to make it all smaller so you can see more time.
I'll scroll down that way people can see. But
I was saying for left, right. Anyway, EU landing zone 1.
Let's see. So to EU landing zone 1. All right, so this team, we have their Q4 schedule. The question is that we need to get answered is why normally these teams get scheduled out in advance. The big thing is that at the beginning of January is when the CIG goes through all their big planning meetings and plans the year ahead. And so I think that's why we haven't gotten the Q1 schedule for EU landing zone 1. Pardon me.
And if we're right, if all of the hopium smokers are right, with Squadron coming at the end of next year, everyone does like cigarettes or whatever. Cigarettes or like not bongs. What are they called? The caterpillar thing. Anyway,
hookah.
That there's a song it's an Alice in Wonderland song that says hookah smoking caterpillar. Anyway. I hope isn't still smoke. Anyway, I don't know how drugs work. That Squadron's coming out at the end of next year. The entire planning focus of the entire year is how can we get Star Citizen in a state for players that are going to play Squadron. That's going to be like the theme of the year.
Yeah. We got to do as much as we can to get SC up to parity with Squadron gameplay wise. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's already going to be a lot of sit down and fix the game next year because of the Aaron Roberts letter after Starfield. But moving down the list, EU Landing Zone 2.
Yep, we got the Q4 schedule.
EUPU Gameplay Feature Team.
Got the Q4 schedule.
EU Sandbox 1 and 2.
We have the schedule for Sandbox 1, not for Sandbox 2.
Gameplay Services Team. Or Game Services Team, sorry.
No Q4 schedule.
Live Tools Team.
No Q4 schedule.
Mission Feature Team.
We do have the Q4 schedule. Thank goodness, because this is what everybody should be pinning their hopes on right now in terms of more gameplay, is more missions. More missions and more locations. That's what we're getting right now. Which is good. You know.
MTL Sandbox 1.
We have the Q4 schedule.
Systemic Services and Tools Team. Now,
Which-
this is that
Yeah.
doesn't exist. That's become the something in economy team. What was the other team that split off?
It became the economy team, but my question is, a bunch of their deliverables are not related to the economy.
Right.
So this is tinfoil hat. Everybody put on your tinfoil hat. Did this change because they got done what they needed to do for the services for Quantum, like the NPC scheduler service, the virtual AI service, the tracker service, all this sort of stuff, that they can now focus on the economy, and the economy is going to be getting a massive update. That's the tinfoil hat. Because the economy team, if we go back up here, where is it? Didn't it get added?
Crazy Masterclass incoming. I hope so.
Where's the economy team? I thought they added it to the progress tracker. Oh, they have not added
Nope.
the economy team to the progress tracker. So,
Interesting. kind of fueling my theory there.
but yeah, the AI services and such would not be necessarily be the purview of the economy team, because a lot of those services play into gameplay features that aren't necessarily part of the economy. And you know, the quantum system that isn't necessarily the economy. And they talked about how the economy team is going to be working. They mentioned it in the monthly report the last couple months, which is odd because they're already working, but they're not on here. That's how far behind we are on the progress tracker. Because it's like, what, 3 months now that we've had them?
Yeah.
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 So yeah, tinfoil hat, Quantum.
USPU Gameplay Feature Team.
Let's see. USPU gameplay feature team. This is a big one. No
Nothing.
Q4 schedule.
In fact, we've already leaped past it. I don't know. Vehicle Feature Team.
Vehicle feature team. No Q4 schedule. And this
EU
is
vehicle
the
content.
The vehicle feature team is the one that's more focused on Squadron.
Mhm.
And then the vehicle gameplay feature team is the one that is now focused on the PU. So, new team. And what did you say? Which one?
EU vehicle content.
EU vehicle content. What? Oh, vehicle content EU. That's what it.
Oh, is it okay? Is it labeled backwards? I thought that was
Yeah.
labeled backwards on here. Okay.
Vehicle content, we have Q4 for all three of those teams.
Just
Yep.
not Q3 or not. We should have Q3, but
Yeah.
we already had the theory of, well, they're just not scheduling past the
Big planning
rescheduling.
meetings. Yeah.
But we're not getting a lot of other stuff, so that.
And I don't remember if they did that last year.
They didn't really. We haven't had a good year of roadmap.
Yeah.
Like it's been all over the place, and this is it for most of the year. For most last 2 years, it's been reasonably good,
Mhm.
and they've been doing all this stuff. Even like even when they have to like go through and nuke the roadmap when they reschedule stuff, they did that last year. I'm pretty sure. Like, hey, we're done with meetings, and we changed everything. Here's your update.
Here's this. Yeah, there was a bunch of changes, but we had the plan, and some things changed, some things didn't. We just don't have anything. And for a lot of team, you know, we was like what 4 or 5 teams that you just listed off that don't have their Q4 schedule that should have their
weapon
Q4 schedule. Team. Oh, and the weapon feature team. Yep, no Q4 schedule.
There you go.
Yeah. We, you know, and Shiny got a little bit salty with Jake about it, and it's understandable. I see Jake's point of view as well because he's super busy. Sorry, not he. Jake is super busy. They are super busy with CitizenCon, but this schedule for these teams, those 4 or 5 teams at least, I think it was 5, maybe 6 teams, we should have had that schedule added during April.
Yeah,
because when you during April you would have already had the Q1 schedule, and at the beginning of April you'd get the you would have already had all the way out to Q3 because you got here's how it works. So the beginning of January you get the full you get out to Q3 for the upstream teams because you've got the previous quarter in arrears. And so at the beginning of April, you know, and during the April updates is when you would get the Q4 updates to the upstream teams. Macton, that's a really good point. So the Progress Tracker was borked twice. Once in May for several weeks, and then again in June for another week or two. And so it was during this time period, the May updates when it was borked because those updates were delayed, that we should have gotten Q4. And so there's a chance that those things fell through the cracks during that period. And so that's why we'd like to give Jake the benefit of the doubt, and that's a really good point, Macton. Thanks for bringing that up. But at the same time, we've had how long to go through and check?
Yeah, and it's not like these updates come in once a quarter. It's just pulling the data from the internal schedule. So whenever that internal schedule exists, they just decided their cadence on when they pull them.
Mm-hmm.
I am more and more leaning towards this very tinfoil hatty theory I have of a new roadmap. Because
that might be something where they're, hey, it's not a new roadmap, but this is version whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the version's right there. It'll be version 2.
Sorry, the version that adds in the things that the Shiny Tracker does, or some of the things.
Yeah. And that's what I was about to say. Like, either it shows work scheduled, in which case I'm sure Shiny will not have any problem being out of a job. Like, it's something he enjoys doing, but it's because he wants to see it. I don't. As far as I know, I don't think he'd be too upset to actually have the data without having to do the extra work. Heck, he might still update his tools anyway.
Yeah.
But also, there's no sunsetting and there's no dependency graphs. And Jake said that that's one of the things that they really wanted on the roadmap tracker, the progress tracker, ever since they got working on it. So maybe it was time after they acquired Turbulent to like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah,
because maybe it was something they were already working on.
Of the Turbulent web team.
Yeah. Jake updates it, Turbulent builds it. So any updates to the actual data that's being shown is Turbulent. Also, all the website stuff, server meshing, the integration of the chip matrix into game data, also Turbulent. Being able to use Spectrum in the game, also Turbulent.
Yep. They've got their plate full.
Yeah, even if they didn't acquire them, they were going to be using them for the next 10 years easily, and they had so much work for them. It was absolutely no-brainer to just like, hey, you just want all work for us? And so that we don't have to like put in requests for like bugs and things, and it's just like your dailies. So
I wonder what the.
do they work to get acquired? Now they'll slow down. No. Now they don't have to wait for invoices to pass between the companies. Now it's just Chris is texting them at midnight saying, "Hey, I noticed this bug on the website."
Yeah. So let's take a look at the Shinytracker reports before we take a look at that replication layer post, because this is going to help reinforce what we were just talking about. So the changes via the Delta tracker, and that's the thing, is there's been very few changes on the Delta report, which changes via the Delta report. The Delta report tracks the changes on the progress tracker, but there's been very few changes in terms of deliverables added. And like the Steel Evidence mission is just it returning to the progress tracker. Like it fell off on accident, but it was on there before.
Check mark.
Yeah. The biggest thing, biggest change is the returning of the Apollo back on the progress tracker and going into production. Hooray. Yeah. Super excited because I love the Apollo. And
if you don't like the Apollo, you don't like Star Citizen. It's simple as that.
That's exactly it. Yep. Yeah. And if you don't like the Apollo, get out. It's going into production. If you remember from the Invictus launch week, All View Equal Q&A, they talked about how the Apollo has already had its pre-production done, and so they just showed off in ISC the white box work that they're doing for it, and because they just got started with it. So I'm thinking I'm being reasonable by hoping for Apollo in like around Invictus launch week next year, maybe a little bit after, summertime next year. The big thing is, what does this signify for medical gameplay and actor status tier 2?
Because you have a quote saved somewhere that they're so good at nailing down when they're going to get done with ships, they can get it within a couple days. So within a week, they can say the ship's going to be done, and they will hit it. So they know exactly when the Apollo's getting done.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
No,
but yeah,
they know.
But their new pipeline is super accurate with them being able to estimate how much work and who needs to be scheduled when. So, because it's smaller than the Constellation. It's not a big ship. And the fact they're getting, it might take a little bit longer just because of its. They have a good amount of RSI style guide, but because of the med bay stuff, there might be some bespokeness that we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, because we don't have it. Well, no, they do have RSI medical stuff. It's in Squadron with the Bengal and the the other Bengals.
Yep. Yeah, the other Bengals.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see if they are trying to time it to release with changes with more work on actor status tier 2 and medical gameplay tier 1. Maybe medical gameplay tier 1 is a feature that they're shooting for mid next year. Don't know.
Yeah, if we will probably see whatever spurred the Apollo at CitizenCon. Like that seems like a very valid they've been saying, hey, we're gonna be doing stuff in cadence with features. So what are you doing, CIG?
What are you up to over there? Hold on, someone asked about drones, and I have the tweet with the links and the pictures.
Will drones be ready? And Nick said we will probably get a big update after CitizenCon. No doubt. Whether that be the new roadmap as a tinfoil hat, or a just onslaught of here's everything we forgot to mention. Oops. All year.
But yeah, they have done the work on how drones are controlled as part of Squadron 42. And so that's my tinfoil. Yeah, that's my tinfoil hat as to why the Apollo is going back into production.
Oh, not medical.
What's that?
Not medical, it's for drones. It's the
I think
test
it would
bed
be
for
both,
drones.
but I think that that's part of the why it got pulled. Is they're like, no, let's wait to do it until we do drones.
That'd be a weird one to put in first for drones, though.
I totally agree.
Like
But
Vulcan is like all drone.
yeah,
like
well,
everything's
and
drone.
it doesn't even have the standard drones that they've done the asset
Yeah.
for. Like they've made the
Yeah,
asset.
we literally like was it the Invictus trailer has the drone in the background?
The only difference is the drones for the Apollo are simpler and have
Oh, okay.
much less functional gameplay because all they do is go hover, pick up, take. There's no drone has to carry fuel and you have refueling gameplay. Drone has to carry a part
Yeah.
or RMC and do repair. Drone has to carry a missile and mount it onto the ship.
Does I thought the drones for the Apollo were just beds. You had to put them on it. Like the drones don't pick up people. They're just hover beds. That
They are Shepherd drones, but they're supposed to be automated. So via a UI, like a screen, you would target the downed person and send the Shepherd drone to go pick them up, and it would just go hover over them, and it uses like a tractor field to hold them in place, and then flies them back up and into the ship. You know, but it's it's a very simple task. Both Drakia, am I saying it right? Both variants have the drones. The only difference between the triage and the medevac is the medevac has more armor, different paint scheme, and the missile launcher or missiles.
Did they have different bed configurations?
Nope, they're both modular bed configurations.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they came with the introducing page is down. There is no introduction. Well, not down. It's gone. The introduction of the Apollo pages are gone.
Oh, it's still there.
Apollo. What?
Yeah, I just looked. Unless it very recently went away, but the
introducing the Apollo, the one that's okay, the one that is linked in the okay. I can fix.
When they did the around the verse on it, they did say it was either around the verse or they reversed the verse on it. They did say that the base at that time, the base Apollo would come with the tier 3 med base, so 3 tier 3 beds on each side. And so that's the other question is, will modularity come with the Apollo, and will you be able to, when they sell it again when it releases, will they sell the other med bays with as part of the actual release sale? So a lot of questions about the Apollo, a lot of questions to be answered. So
yeah, the introduction page does not exist.
Hold on.
Can you pull it onto your screen? I need to get that shot from you. That stupid bangle. Dang. Such a cool shot.
Oh, I'll put it in our chat. Pardon me, sorry.
North Entry. What all ships have drones? CJ said Reclaimer, Carrack, Vulcan, Crucible, Apollo. 3? Oh. Reclaim 4.
There it is.
Interesting. Yeah, don't like bookmark. I don't know. Ha! Yeah, it's not coming up in the search for the.
I just type the ship manufacturer, the ship name, and then transmission, and it automatically pulls up the concept transmission.
Rescue the Apollo. Oh, it might. This week in Star Citizen. This week in Star Citizen. This week in Star Citizen. Reverse. Ship shape and shipyard. Okay, you can only get to this page very specific ways, apparently. Man, I love the look of the new RSI. It's so good.
Shepherd Medilift drones. Each Apollo comes equipped with 2 Medilift semi-automated emergency extraction pods, each capable of lifting up to 500 pounds quickly and securely from the ground to ship. Each drone is outfitted with payload preservation armor, auto gyro stabilization, and shock balance absorption technology to maximize patient safety and comfort through extraction. And this is just lore plot armor saying this is why you can't shoot them down. This is why flying around, bumping into things doesn't injure people more. That's all that is. But semi-autonomous just means that the way drones are supposed to work is that you give the drone a task and you give the drone a target, and the drone flies out and it does the thing.
Yep.
And that's what they've explained to us previously. So when that changes, we'll let you know. So back to the Delta report. Obviously, the SRV changes, just from the roadmap changes. New interdiction scenarios. The end date is moved earlier. So basically, either these are getting done sooner or they removed work from it. One or the other. We don't know. Just the name changes again for these things. And that's it for the Delta report change. Now,
you want to like quickly flip through like the last 5 deltas so that we can like contextualize this lack of data.
Oh gosh.
If you just hit back twice on the headers, you'll go to scheduled deliverables, then back to Delta.
Okay,
Or
so
you can do that too.
Yeah, this is 920. 3 deliverables updated, 1 deliverable added.
Back again.
9.6, 5 deliverables updated.
Nothing new, just 5 updated.
Just little updates. 8.23, 2 deliverables removed, and then 2 added. There's just the same thing. All they were doing was just changing things.
Yeah. Retiling
and then
them,
1 update. Yep, retiling. Yeah.
And again.
August 9th.
This was the last update we had.
This is the last one, and 59 deliverables updated, and a lot of this was the the downstream.
Update.
This is the downstream teams getting their update finally. So yeah, it's all just squadron stuff. Yep.
And then previous to that, it was stuff that we were shown already.
Yep. So yeah,
it's very strange. Very, very strange.
The other thing that's really poignant is if you go to the scheduled deliverables report, you can just scroll down here and you can see how many deliverables have this scheduled work ending soon, largely because the progress tracker hasn't been updated. Scheduled work ending soon, scheduled work ending soon. Just a whole litany of things.
Almost done.
Yeah. And a lot of it's squadron things, but a lot of it's things on downstream teams. So we are overdue for a very big update. RSI Polaris,
1, 2,
8
3,
art
4,
devs and 1
5,
designer
6, 7,
currently
8,
working on it.
9.
Hell yeah.
That's not the same, is it? That's not.
Okay, so let's.
No, okay.
You have anything else you want to add?
When did we see the white box of the Polaris?
The new Polaris white box was back in November of last year during IAE.
Oh.
And then went into production. Went into pre-production in April, and real production in like June.
Yeah, remember when we said it would take them a year to get the Polaris done at their current state when we were making that episode?
Mm-hmm.
They're at 9 months.
No, they're not.
Yeah, pre-production started in April.
That's not 9 months ago.
Oh, okay, they'll be at 9 months in December. Sorry, we're reading what the current roadmap says.
Yep. Well, it went into pre-production in April, and it went into like legitimate production in June.
Pre-production was done. Pre-production is all the way through white box.
No. Pre-production is just them, hey, going through, this is the concept that we have, here's the plan going forward for it, and then you go into production, but they already had like a lot of the white box work done. Pre-production isn't white box. Pre-production is just the planning phase to make sure, to figure out, okay, what all do we need to do for this. They said it at Invictus launch week, and then the all vehicle Q&A. They're like, it's on the progress tracker. It's in pre-production. It's going into full production soon. And then they reconfirmed that like in June that it is now in production. But it was in pre-production for like last month and some change, whatever it was.
So June
essentially,
is when we last saw it.
Yeah, and so essentially, Invictus launch week to Invictus launch week would be a whole year of production.
Ooh, boy.
Yep. Just saying, I'm calling it.
We get two RSI ships for Invictus.
That could be cool. Oh.
And that's still assuming that they had to spend the entire year on it, and they haven't gotten any faster.
Yep. Don't know. We better see lots of Polaris updates as it goes through production. If we don't, I'm gonna riot and fling poop.
We'll see it the last quarter of production.
Yeah.
On ISCs. Where did my Starchive bookmark go?
All right. So that's it for the October 4th Roadmap Roundup, and quantifying the issues with the progress tracker right now, and how we're overdue for an update. And hopefully we're going to get one during this month, a big update during this month, or at least some information on why we're behind. Obviously, got to give CIG and Jake the benefit of the doubt because got a lot on their plate, but we shall see.